All right, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, my name is Tony Martinez. I'm going to be talking to you guys now for about the next 35 minutes or so. I appreciate you guys for coming on. I'm not exactly sure, where you guys are located, who invited you, but if you're watching this right now, it's because of one of three reasons in our reality. Either someone has made a decision to come and work in the financial services with one of our agency owners, and they've asked for your feedback. They want your input. If that's the case, I just want you to know that your opinion is greatly valued. If that's why you're here, perfect. We're going to give you an understanding of who we are and what we do, so you can give some feedback to the person that decided to start working with us. The second reason that you might be here is because you yourself want to get your finances in the right order, and you want to learn about the products and services that we have, and essentially figure out how to get on the right path towards insurance protection, retirement planning. If that's the case, you're going to learn a lot about some of the products and services that we offer, and you'll get a chance to get back with the person that invited you to set up a private one-on-one consultation. Some of you might be here for the third reason. A lot of people are here mainly for the third reason. The third reason is you're looking to find ways to generate extra income on a part-time basis in the financial services sector, or you're trying to replace what you're currently doing and make financial services a full-time opportunity. If that's who you are, you're going to learn a lot today about where the financial services industry is going, who we are as a company, and how we, TKO Financial Network, as a back office support, can help you establish and build your business rather than feeling like you're working for a business. Okay. As I stated earlier, my name is Tony Martinez. I've got about 15 years experience in the industry, and I've been able to learn this industry from a number of different hats, really, from working in a career agency model where I represented a big corporate company, to working in a network marketing type model where I understood what it was to build agencies, to being independent, having to build something from the bottom up. I've learned what it is to be a producer. I've learned what it is to be an agency owner. I've learned it in a number of different capacities, and we feel that TKO Financial Network right now is the best opportunity for someone that really wants to build something of their own. Okay. I want to start also by telling you who we are and who we're not. Okay. Who we are not. We're not one of those things. Okay. We're not one of those things where after I'm done talking to you for 20, 30 minutes, you guys are going to see that there's going to be a subscription, there's going to be an enrollment fee, there's going to be some type of a website that's going to be created for you, some lotions and potions you're going to have to purchase and keep in your garage and try to sell. That's not who we are. We're not one of those. We're not one of those things. What we are, however, by definition, is what's called an FMO, a field marketing organization. We are the distribution of insurance and financial companies. Okay, we're the organization that trains and develops the field in providing access to that. So my job is to train and develop agents and help them represent some of the high grade companies that we have access to. And the client essentially does business with those companies, and then those companies compensate us accordingly. Okay. So I wanted to kind of get that out the way. A little bit about myself. I'm 37 years of age. I grew up in the south side of Miami. My family comes from your average middle American household. My dad doesn't make more than $30,000 a year. They believed in the concept that if they came to America, right? My parents immigrated over here. If they came to America, they could live the American dream. All right. And if you ask yourself, what's the American dream, right? You get it. You go to high school and get good grades. You graduate good, and go to college. You do well in college, and when you graduate college, you find this great job that's going to pay you amazing pay and benefits, and you're gonna ride off into the sunset to retirement. That's the American dream that we're told, right? Nothing against it. Nothing against it. It's just that it's in my belief, there's a couple pieces to the puzzle that essentially are missing. And one of those pieces to the puzzle, a way to streamline that, is entrepreneurship, capitalism, the ability to learn how to generate your own income instead of looking for employment. So this is more of a W-2 versus 1099 type of a conversation. Okay. I went to G. Holmes Braddock Senior High School in Miami. I graduated, went to the University of South Florida, where I was studying at the time initially to be a doctor. Didn't want to do that. Ended up shifting and really didn't know what I wanted to do until 2005. My dad in 2005 was in a very, very bad car accident that disabled him for a year and a half. He was in a head-on collision with a waste management truck on his way home from work. And for the first time ever, because of that situation, my family lost their greatest asset. And that asset was my dad's ability to earn a living. So ask yourself, how many people do you know fit into that profile where their paycheck is the biggest and greatest asset that they have, and they're literally one paycheck away from complete financial turmoil? That's kind of what happened with us. That's what happened with us. My dad lost his ability to earn a living. And at the time I was a cook. I was a cook for about 6 years, flipping burgers, making 8 to 12 bucks an hour. And I had to drop out of school. I had to come back home because I'm the oldest of three. And being the oldest, I had to step up to the plate and help my family out. I had to replace my dad's income, but then on top of that, I had to replace my mom's income because my mom had to become his caregiver. My mom had to help him dress himself and feed himself and so on and so forth. Now, he was the kind of person that said to himself, man, I work for a big corporate company. I have all the best insurances. I'm covered, until he realized that he wasn't. And the reason why he wasn't was because in all reality, he didn't understand the rules of the money game. He really didn't understand the rules of the money game. And the people that he would talk to about the rules of the money game were people that were broke, busted, and disgusted. And so that put me in a position to say, okay, when my dad recovers, I had to work 3 jobs, by the way, to replace both their paychecks so that they didn't lose their house that they fought so hard to get. But when my dad finally recovered, I said to myself, I want to learn about finances. I want to learn about money. I want to learn about insurances. I had no idea that I would have ever decided to make this a career. But in learning about this, I realized there's a lot of people in middle America who don't understand the rules of the money game, who don't understand how insurances work, who don't understand the pros and cons to these vehicles. There's a lot of people in middle America who talk to 2 people about money. It's their banker and their 401k specialist at their headquarters of their employer. Those are the only 2 people they talk about money. And they talk to them maybe once or twice a year, and all they hear about is 401ks and savings accounts and CDs and money market. That's all they hear about. There's a lot of people nowadays who feel the only way they can get insurance is through their employers, not realizing that insurances with your employer are typically not transferable, meaning they're only there and they're only good while you're employed. So when you leave the job or the job lets you go, think about this pandemic, 63 million people all of a sudden let go. That's a lot of people who lose their insurances. That's what I was learning while I was learning about financial services, insurances, and so on and so forth. I also learned a second thing. There's a lot of money to be made in this industry. It's one of the top 3 in America. I mean, it really is. It's medicine, technology, financial services, top 3. And out of the 3, this is the only one that doesn't require a college degree to get into it. You know what it requires? It requires licenses. A license within the specialty of what you want to do. So if you want to become, for example, an accountant, you got to get an accounting license. If you want to become a realtor, you got to get a real estate license. Well, if you want to become a financial representative in the insurance industry and retirement industry, you need a license as well. A simple license that, no lie, it costs less money than you spend on a Saturday or Sunday. It costs less money than you spend on an outfit. It costs less money than you spend on a night out on a date. That's literally what it costs. And so when I got in, I said, you know what? I'm blowing money left and right, here and there, here and there, here and there. I'm not investing into myself. I believe that I was a stock worth investing into, so I invested in and got my license. And when I got my license, I started to realize that I could make more money on a part-time basis than I did my full. And little by little, I transitioned it and made it a career. And here we are today, 15 years later, giving that same opportunity back to people. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in depth. And then afterwards, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to reach out to me. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm a very direct person. Anybody that knows me will tell you that, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay. So one of the biggest questions people ask me is, what in the world is TKO? What does TKO stand for? Is it total knockout? No. TKO stands for the Kaizen organization. The Kaizen organization. Kaizen is a Japanese word that stands for consistent, never-ending growth. And when I thought about entrepreneurship, business, money, finance, education, personal development, consistent, never-ending growth really kind of stood out. And then therefore we said to ourselves, we want to build an FMO that focuses on helping agencies that are ran by our independent agents grow and never stop growing. What's our mission? Our mission is helping people get on the right track towards financial stability and time freedom, because having all the money in the world is nothing if you don't have the time to share it with your family. You can make all the money in the world, but if you're stuck in your office all single stinking day, what's the point of making all that kind of money? Right? Our objective today is to talk to you about the difference between W-2 versus a 1099 and to educate you about an industry instead of recruit you into a company. TKO Financial Network is something that means something near and dear to me. It doesn't mean it has to be your company, right? For example, some of you guys are invited here by Carlos. Carlos has his own agency. Carlos has his own brand. Carlos has his own company. If something happens to Carlos, that company passes on to his family. He has he and I work together as business partners, but I'm more of a back office. I'm a back office to him. I'd be a back office to you guys as well too, in helping you build your brand. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about today's economic realities. This is the realities from an entrepreneurial eye. Okay. The median U.S. household income in America is $74,600 pre-pandemic. And that income requires two people earning a living in one household. The average student debt in 2019 was $32,731. Over 73% of college graduates will have a job that's not related to their major, 73%. And 83% of college graduates right now will graduate and they won't have a job waiting for them when they graduate. Look at these statistics. 53% of Americans don't have any emergency fund in place, and 49% of them are living completely paycheck to paycheck. Over 55 million Americans ended up unemployed unexpectedly during the 2020 pandemic. It ended up closing out at 63 million people that were unexpectedly let go by some of the biggest companies in all reality that we never thought were going to go anywhere. 41% of divorced Gen Xers and 29% of divorced baby boomers say that they ended their marriage over what? Financial issues. See, financial health is so important. Financial health is so utterly important. The number one cause for divorces is financial issues, right? The number one cause for strokes, cancers, strokes, and heart attacks happens to be financial stress. The number one cause for bankruptcies nowadays happens to be because of a financial burden that happened because of a medical issue. Those are today's realities. Those are just the numbers and the facts. Here's some more reality for you. Look at the cost of living, how it shifted between 1990 to 2015. A gallon of gas went from $1.12 to $2.33. The average home went from $101,000 to $220,000 for that same home. A new car went from $9,400 to $33,500. Raising a child went from $120,000. Hold your horses here. Get ready, parents, to $245,000 per kid. I got two. I got a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. Right? My girlfriend has two as well, too, as a 14-year-old and a 19-year-old. In our household, you got $1 million worth of kids just running around getting dirty. It's insanity, but that's today's realities, right? A 4-year college tuition went from $30,000 a year to $94,000 for that same college tuition. Yet, look at median income. It went from $52,000 to $55,000. You see how everything exponentially went up? Everything exponentially cost more money, yet median income stayed the same. This gives you a lot of ahas. Here's the aha that it gave me. I understand now why back in the day, dad was a breadwinner and mom was a homemaker, because his income was more than enough to sustain the household. You see, nowadays, it's very uncommon to find a household where there's one person that's a primary income earner and employed. Most of them are both working jobs, both working a weekend job, both are doing something extra on the side in order to survive. And look at the list of things that I'm talking about. These are average, ordinary type things. I mean, yes, there's some craziness going on right now with gas, but even that, I mean, these are not luxuries. These are things that we should have, especially as Americans. We should have access to these, regardless of the income. So what are the 4 reasons why people don't become entrepreneurs? Ask yourself this question. Have you ever thought about running your own business? If the answer is yes, then you ask yourself the next question. What's stopping you? What's held you back? It's one of these 4. You don't know what business to get into. You don't feel you have the time to put into the business. You feel you don't have the money to start the business, or quite frankly, you have no idea how to begin. And life punches us in the face every single day, right? We work our crazy jobs. We fight the traffic to come home. We take care of our kids. We bathe them, do schoolwork with them. We pray with them. We feed them. We put them to bed. We have enough energy at the end of the night for a glass of wine or a beer just to go to sleep, wake up and do it again. We absolutely love Fridays, but we can't stand Mondays. We live life for 2 days of the weekend, and that's about it. I mean, that's what most people go through, and they just don't have enough time to focus on any of these 4 things. So we as a company said, you know what, let's find the answer to all 4 of these, right? Let's find the answer to all 4 of these. The first question is, well, what business do I get into? Let's talk about it. I'm saying financial services, but I'd rather prove it than just say it, right? There's an industry, there's a generation of people called the baby boomers. They were born between 1946 and 1964. That's 76 million Americans. That's 43% of the United States. I want you to know something. If you could figure out what 76 million people want at the same time, you could figure out what the next boom is. You could figure out what the next opportunity is. So take a look at the history books. In the 1940s, 76 million kids between 0 and 4 years of age are born. What industries explode? The baby industry. Gerber, Johnson & Johnson, and Mattel revolutionized. Why? Because 76 million kids are entering the United States and they need those products. In the 50s, 76 million kids are between 5 to 8 years of age, 5 to 7. What are they doing? Every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, they're going to school. And there's not enough schools for them. So what ends up happening? Construction companies go crazy building schools, and that was the industry to be a part of. In the 60s, you got 76 million what? Teenagers turning 16 years of age. What do you think they want to do? They want to get a license and drive. Ford Motor decided that they wanted to be a part of that wave. They're on the verge of bankruptcy at the time, making the Pinto and the station wagon. And then they build one car that's super attractive to the teenager, the Ford Mustang. Revolutionize the automobile industry. They invent the assembly line. They create the 9-to-5 schedule. They become the largest distributor of automobiles. Become the largest employer in the United States because of the automobile industry, but more importantly, because 76 million teenagers want to get into a car that's fast and sexy. You go to the 70s and 80s, and now they're in their 30s. What do you think they want to do in their 30s? They want to settle down, they get married, have a kid. Real estate, marketing companies go crazy, right? The white picket fence. You see, in the 70s and 80s, if you had a real estate license, you were making $250,000 or higher. For a couple reasons. One, not a lot of real estate agents. Two, heavy demand for real estate. What other things came out in that time? Vocational schools. Learn to become what? A general contractor, a plumber, a mechanic, an engineer. Why? An electrician. Why? Because all of those professions are needed to build more houses. So fast forward now, the baby boomers are between 50 to 60 years of age. What do you think they want to do? Think about it. What do you think you want to do in your 50s and 60s? If the answer is retirement, you're right. But before you can retire, you got to find a way to replace your biggest asset, which is what? Your income. You got to make sure you're ready to retire. You got to make sure you got enough money that you won't outlive it. You got to make sure you have the insurances to protect you in the event of. And so you need to talk to a financial advisor, a financial representative, or insurance agent and get your finances in order. That's why this industry is in as high a demand as it is right now. For that one reason and for one other reason, and I'll share with you right here why not. Why there's such a high demand in our industry. In the 1970s, we had 500,000 licensed agents. Fast forward 2013, 149,000 licensed agents remaining. You see how many people we lost? We went from 500,000 to 149. Why? This is why. This industry used to be Caucasian male dominated. The average advisor was a 59-year-old Caucasian male, and now they're retiring. So a lot of people are hanging up their hat. They're saying, hey, I'm good. Hey, I served my 30, 40 years. I'm going to retire. And so this industry now went through a massive shortage. The US population, however, went up. It went from 204 million people to 316 million people. We got more people in the United States than ever before. Why? I blame Netflix and chill. It's easy to have a baby. It's an extracurricular activity that people like to do. Doesn't cost them a lot in the beginning, but it costs them a lot on the back end. At the end of the day, there's more people than ever before, and there are less agents in this industry than ever before. So this gap is a gap right now that is worth getting invested into and filling, because eventually this gap will get filled. This gap will be filled up in the next 10 to 15 years. This gap will be filled, and there'll be another 500,000 to 750,000 to maybe even 1 million people in this industry. And at that point in time, supply and demand shifts. There's not that much value in having a license in this industry. But right now, for the next 10 to 15 years, the best time to get involved in it. The next question you might have is, well, Tony, I get it. I understand. I see why that's the industry to pick, but I don't have the time, man. God, I'm so strapped on time. Let's break it down. There's 168 hours in a week. Average American sleeps 49, works 40, 10 hours in hygiene, 5 hours in physical fitness, 14 hours in eating, 2 hours in their faith, 14 hours to commute. That leaves you 34 hours remaining. So ask yourself, what are you doing with those 34 hours that are remaining? What if I told you the only thing we're looking for someone that has no experience is anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a week, scattered, sprinkled out over a 7-day period? A few hours here, a few hours there. What if I told you that a lot of the training and development that we do is in nights and weekends after you're done with your 9 to 5? So my question to you is this: if you're willing to put in 40, 50 hours a week of work into somebody else's business, are you willing to put 10 to 15 into your own? Especially if those 10 to 15 could generate you more income than the 40 to 50 you're giving somebody else. And if you ask yourself, the company you work for, how did they get started? I would almost guarantee you I would almost guarantee you that when they first got started, they were putting in those kinds of hours to make sure that the business got up and going so that at some point they can employ someone like yourself and they didn't have to be at the office nearly as much. That's it. Now, the next question you might say is, well, Tony, what about the money? My goodness, Tony, it costs a lot of money to start a business. So let's do a comparison of what it used to cost to get into this industry versus what it costs now. Traditional startup cost to a business: supplies, rent, independent contractors, licenses, liability insurances, marketing costs, business coaches, seminars. I mean, there is a big cost traditionally to get into this industry. The financial services startup cost of today, you know what you need? You need a pre-licensing course, a course that normally runs $240. Guess what? We got it covered. Doesn't cost you anything. In every single state right now, except for Illinois, we've got the cost covered for you. Illinois, I think, is like $70. And then it costs a state license. The state, not us, the state's going to charge you a license. And that cost is anywhere from $50 to $150 depending on the state that you're in. And then when you have your license, you need to have a professional liability insurance policy. And that costs about $35 a month. So break it down. Outside of Illinois, what does that mean? That means that you get a pre-licensing course for free, you get a license for $150, and then monthly you got to pay $35 a month. So I ask you, when you wake up, when you stretch, right? Wipe the crust off your eyes, you walk to the bathroom, you look in the mirror. Do you see a stock worth investing into? Do you see someone that's valuable enough that should be making more than what they're currently making? Do you see someone that deserves to generate the kind of income that they buy back time? They can spend that time with their family. They can control their time and make it to their daughter's recital, their son's basketball games. They can take the day off if they need to and go help their significant other with whatever it is that's going on. Right? They can say, hey, listen, we're not fighting for Saturdays and Sundays. We're living our lives because we're generating our own income. That's what we're looking for. Those are the simple costs that it is to get into this industry. You know, this industry is understanding as well too that it's more multicultural than ever. More multicultural than ever. Nowadays, it's like a 50% radius of, a 50%. It's a 50%. What's the word I'm looking for? Demographic of Latinos in the financial services industry. The financial services industry has recognized that, and now a lot of states will allow you to take the state test in Spanish because of the demand that there is. Now, let's talk about today's financial realities, because hopefully I answered all your questions in reference to, oh my God, should I start a business? We know what industry, right? We know the time. We know how to overcome time. We know how to overcome money, right? The next thing is, I don't know how. Well, before I tell you how, let me talk to you about some of today's realities. From a financial standpoint, from the eyes of the average middle American, 40.6% of all U.S. households between 35 and 64 are projected to run out of money during retirement because they don't have someone to talk to about retirement. Social Security Trust Fund will completely run out by the year 2035. So if you're thinking that people should rely on that, they need to start talking to someone who has an expertise in how to generate income, more income for retirement outside of Social Security. 45% of Americans have no type of life insurance coverage in place, and yet there's, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, there's this, virus going around right now that's killing people, and take the virus out of the equation. Do you know how many Americans are not thinking about their legacy? Not because they don't want to, but just because they don't know how to, because they think they can't afford insurance. Life insurance could be as cost effective as $15-20 a month, and most people don't get it because they don't think they can afford it. The average American carries 3.5 credit cards for a total of $16,000 of unsecured debt, and that debt holds them back from achieving some of their future goals because they don't understand how credit can work against them, but they also don't understand how credit can work for you. Those are today's financial realities. So what are the services we offer? We offer life insurance protection, cancer and critical injury protection, retirement planning, credit repair and credit enhancement. We offer health insurances, tax services, long-term care services, 401k rollovers. You know how many people change jobs and leave their 401ks behind because they don't know that they can take that with them and not have to pay a penalty? They think that the money either belongs to the former employer, or if they take it, they're going to pay penalties, not realizing that they don't have to pay those penalties. Those are the services we offer. And look at some of the companies that we represent. Because we're an FMO, we have some of the top rated companies in the market space. Companies that will vet us out. They vetted us out to qualify us to represent them. So just be proud in knowing that through our distribution channel, you're going to get access to some of the best companies. Companies like, for example, North American. Companies like, for example, right there, North American. Companies like, for example, Allianz. You know, Allianz has the best index accumulation account right now in the market space. Big companies. Oh, hang on, I got to come back a little bit. Companies like Silac. You know, when it comes to health insurance companies, we're talking about companies like Blue Cross. We're talking about companies like Aetna. We're talking about companies like United. When we talk about retirement companies, we're talking about companies like Fidelity. We're talking about companies like Silac. We're talking about insurance-based companies. We're talking like AIG, Transamerica, Nationwide, Prudential. I mean, these are some top-rated companies. And in order to represent them, you need two things: a license and an accredited training program. Guess what we are? We are the accredited training program that will back you up while you build your relationship with these companies. Now, you might say, okay, well, Tony, I get it now. How do we get our clients? Right? I've heard about a lot of this, man. Am I only going to be talking to my friends and family? Am I only going to be talking to them? And then once I'm done freaking bothering my friends and family, do you guys kind of kick me to the curb? Because I don't want that. We don't do that. I'm not going to tell you that it's not important for you to talk to your friends and family. I think your friends and family are the first people you yourself need to make the decision to talk to, because guess what? Those are the people that you care about the most, that deserve to have the right types of protections in place. However, I do understand, especially when it comes to money and finances, that we live in a world where mom and dads are teaching us not to talk to our friends and family about money. So it's kind of a catch-22. So how do we obtain our clientele? A number of different ways. One is through lead generation. You know how many people nowadays are requesting information about insurance protection and retirement planning, and they're waiting for someone to give them a call? You know how many? We have access to leads in real time, meaning the person fills out the questionnaire, we get it in real time, call them, schedule them, meet with them. Social media ads. I mean, think about social media nowadays. Everybody gets their news from social media. What if I told you we have companies that will help put together your own social media ads for you? What if you're the kind of person that says, Tony, I've got access to a huge distribution channel. I got 5,000-6,000 names and numbers, but I don't have time to call it. What if I told you that we have a call center that'll scrub out those calls for you? What if I teach you how to develop network partnerships within your community so you can become what I like to call the mayor of your community, and people know you because of your relationships, and those relationships bring you more business? And there's another technique called nesting, where we teach you how to hang out inside of a family tree and generate clientele inside of the family, more than just one person or two people, maybe 15 to 20 people. We teach you that world. You see, there's something that I believe in. You can't run a bakery until you learn first how to bake bread. And so we're going to get down to the bottom level, and we're going to teach you first how to bake bread before we start teaching how to work the machine, before we eventually start teaching how to run the entire bakery. Here's how we do not obtain our clientele, right? And I say this to you because there's companies that actually operate this way. And if you've been to some of those companies, I just want you to not compare us to those companies, because here's what we don't do. We're not going to start writing a business inside of your warm market without you having your license to give you some type of a promotion while you're studying for your exam. If you don't have your license, get your license. We have licensing coaches that'll help you with your licensing. We have licensing programs. Trust me, we want you to get your license, because that's the very first step of what you need to do. If you do have your license, then great, let's talk about it and get you out in the field right away. The income potential is huge. The top 4 most millionaire industries: financial services, technology, healthcare, real estate, and construction. There it is. It falls right in line. Ways that you can begin. You can begin as a referral partner. If you got your own little side hustle, like you run your accounting business, maybe you run a healthcare business and you just want to partner, great. Send us referrals. We'll split the commissions with you 50-50. You'll make $10,000 to $30,000 a year. You want to start working this part-time, nights and weekends, 10 to 15 hours, you make $25,000 to $75,000 a year. You want to really go in full-time, open up your own, storefront location, or work from home, a mom and pop type of an operation, you'll make an easy $50,000 to $150,000 a year. And if you're the big thinker, you're that person that's like, nah, listen, I want the whale. I want to open up a distribution. I want to open up a business and franchise this sucker. Like, I want 10, 15 locations. I want managers in every location, administrative assistants in every location, but I want each person that runs the location to be financially responsible for the overhead. I don't want nothing to do with that piece. I just want a small cut of the revenue. Then great, become what's called a business builder. Those people make $150,000 to a 7-figure income. And yes, there's one person in particular that I admire. He's in his 70s, and he started back 40 years ago. He's making like $1.2 million a month right now. And if you actually saw him, you would say to yourself, how in the world is he doing it? He was consistent, and he understood what what the financial services industry has when it comes to thinking like a builder. That's the ways that you can begin. Why us? You might say, well, Tony, why you? Why not Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Edward Jones, any other male Caucasian names that you want to name the company? Why not just them? I'll tell you why. This is an independent model. This is not about you having a business card that has somebody else's company name and a business card that if something does happen to you, the only thing they give your family is flowers and they take whatever business you built. This is about you building your own business. This is designed to help you open up your own agency. This is a business that's going to give you vesting from day one, meaning your business is your business from day one. You don't have to meet any prerequisites. If you don't know anything about this industry, I'll tell you, when you make a sale in this industry, you get a commission. And if you keep your client happy, you get paid over and over and over and over and over again for years on end. And that's yours from day one. You know, there's many companies that will keep that from you if you decide to part ways. This is your business. Direct pay directly from the companies. Compensations that start anywhere from 90%. You know how hard it is nowadays to find organizations that will start agents off at a 90% with zero experience? I know companies that start people off at 30 and 40%. We're starting our agents off at 90. And in the same token, there's a zero cost enrollment. I'm not trying to generate any kind of income just because you decided to come on board and enroll. The idea here is to help you obtain your license, help you learn to run this business, help you generate income. And the companies that are paying you directly are the very same companies that are compensating us. They compensate the back office, TKO Financial Network. They compensate the agency owners that you're working through. Our resources by far are better than any other. We have a CRM with artificial intelligence. We call it the Jarvis system. If you guys saw Iron Man, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We have an auto dialer system to help you do rapid dials. We have lead generation, our own real-time lead generation, social media ad management. We have videos on how to run the business. We have experienced trainers. We have case management teams to help you while business is in underwriting. We have advanced case planning if you're working high-end cases like group benefits, 401k administration. You know, we have medical underwriting prep teams if you're dealing with people that have some medical issues and you're trying to figure out what's the best way to present that client to the insurance company. We have a licensing coach that'll assist you obtain your license on a virtual classroom type setting. You see, you're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. So you've got some choices as I finish up here today. You can stay at your current job. You can find another job that doesn't pay you what you're worth. You can go back to school, cross your fingers, or you can learn how to run your own business. And as my sister-in-law says, you learn how to make boss money. You know, I'm going to tell you right now, I have no formal financial education. Okay. I wasn't silver spoon fed. I was the person that was given an opportunity through a trial and tribulations. And I do believe, you know, in Spanish, they call it no hay mal que por bien no venga, meaning there isn't bad that can happen to you that good can't come out of. My dad in 2005, you know what I mean? It completely distraught us. You know, it messed me up to see my dad lose, you know, close to 50, 60 pounds because of his disability, doped up on morphine with nuts and bolts running through his leg. It completely paralyzes the man of the house, the head of the household, the guy that we always relied on. But out of that came a blessing. It gave me the curiosity to want to learn about an industry that now supports my family, an industry that now supports my extended family, an industry that right now is going to be able to retire my parents, an industry that right now is going to get me and my significant other an opportunity to retire by the time we hit 50 years of age, something that most people don't get a chance to do. That's what this industry did. It wasn't a college degree. I'm not knocking you if you got your college degree. I'm just saying, if you want a little better and you're willing to invest a little bit into yourself and you want to be at the right place at the right time, this is that kind of an opportunity, but we're looking for people that are looking for us. This isn't about convincing you. I generate no income for you just making a decision to come on board, but then you don't get your license, you don't come to training, you know what I mean? I want you to do well. And if you do well, the very companies that compensate you allow us to be compensated. And that's how the wheel goes round and round. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this for you guys. I'm going to give you an easy way out, right? A lot of organizations, what they'll do is they'll hound you down with phone calls left and right. They won't stop. And you're going to have to block their number. And then they're going to call you with a different number. I'm not that guy. I promise you I'm not that guy. I'm going to give you a way out. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not even going to get offended. I'm going to give you my mobile number. And you're going to shoot me a text message. Now, here's the pros to doing it. Here's the cons to not doing it. If you don't message me, then there might be a chance that 2 or 3 of our guys are going to hound you down and call you 3, 4 times and, you know, add you to some crazy auto dialer system. No, I'm just playing. But if you do message me, you get an easy way out. This is all I need you to do in the text message. Scale of 1 to 10. 1, Tony, this was the worst, absolute worst meeting on the planet. It was an hour wasted of my life. Or 10, I'm very interested. I just want to know where you are. Scale of 1 to 10. It's the first thing I need to know. Second thing, who's the name of the person that invited you? Who's the person? And then third, your name. I need your name, right? Because I don't have your number. I just need your name. You can text message me that info. Here's my number. I'm going to give it to you, so write it down. That number is 239-784-1118. So either you were invited or you're just watching this video because someone sent it to you. Get back with the person that sent it to you or shoot me a message directly. And if you're invited, again, I ask you, send me a text message. My number again, 239-784-1118. 3 things I need. Scale of 1 to 10, where are you? 1, not interested. 10, very interested. This is the name of the person that invited me, and this is my name. If you're in that, 7, 8, 9 category, 10 category, great. I'll make sure that someone reaches out to you and helps answer whatever last minute questions you have. If you're that 1, 2, 3 person, listen, I promise you, we're not going to hound you down. We're not going to bother you. That's not what we're here to do. But let us know. That way we're not wasting your time. That way we're not wasting our time. I appreciate the time you guys gave us. I appreciate the opportunity you guys gave me to speak with you. Trust me, I value your time. Hopefully I hit and I resonated with some of you guys, because I've learned that I'm not the only person that felt this way. I'm not the only person that went through some of these things and questioned some of these things that society has to has given us as a reality. Reality is a matter of perception. And if you want change in your life, one of the things you got to do first is change yourself. So have a good one, guys. Be blessed. I really appreciate the time you guys gave me. And I look forward to hearing from every last single one of you guys.